to Karting with Zephyr. Today we are doing a league race day at Lone Star Kartpark. This would be my first time ever doing a league race day here at this track, so let's see how it goes. And I am going to be racing in the lights class today. So what's been playing in the background is my fastest lap from qualifying. There was 18 people out at this race day, and I did end up qualifying third. And the way it works at Lone Star Kartpark is there's Group A and Group B, 10 racers in each generally. So we ended up getting put in Group A in second place. And as we round the final corner, going down this straight, final time for that fastest lap was a 50.28, so not too bad. Jumping into the pre-final, like I mentioned, we are starting second in pre-final A, and because there was only 18 people out today, there was 9 in this race. You can see we do drop down to third at the start, but we are right in the mix and right on first and second here, so not too bad of a start so far. We go with a bit of a defensive line at the middle of the track, trying to make sure that nobody behind us jumps in front of us. You can see we are starting to build a little bit of a gap to the carts behind us, so we can focus our efforts on trying to get by first and second, starting with cart number 1 here. Ideally, we don't want to fight too much though, as we don't want to let that group behind us catch up to us. Going down this straight, we got a little bit of a gap to us, but we are able to catch up to them down that straight again. And here, just trying not to lose too much speed by bumping into the back of these carts. See, we're right on them. They're going side by side into these corners and fighting, so we definitely have the opportunity to slip by, and we do take advantage of that and slip by cart number 1 there. So with that, we are up into second. At this point, trying to look for a clean opportunity to pass cart 18 here. Here he does get a bad exit, and we try to slip by him on the side. However, not quite enough speed to do that, so we back off a little bit going into this turn here before the straight. You did see cart number 1's nose peeking through there for a second, so we gotta be aware that he's right behind us still. Going into this corner, car 18 does not take a defensive line, he takes the optimal racing line, which leaves the inside open, so we take advantage of that and jump on the inside. At this point, just trying to keep these carts behind us. We are taking defensive lines through all of these turns here. And with that, we are up into first. So we just have to hold this. We know they're still pretty close behind us. And if we can build up a little bit of a gap, then we can kind of focus on getting some clean laps in and try to build even bigger of a gap. So this is actually my first time ever leading a race in a rental league race day, so no pressure there. You can see we do have a little bit of a gap, but it's still enough that you have to be aware of them behind you, but enough of a space that you can focus on just doing your optimal race lines, at least no defensive lines. If you've been enjoying the content so far, be sure to drop a like, and if you're interested in watching videos like this in the future, be sure to subscribe. I'll be uploading videos like this all the time. But with that said, let's jump back into the video here. So as we come around this corner, we still have a bit of a gap, just kind of focusing on getting some good laps in. For this next lap, let me just walk you through what I'm thinking and what I try to focus on for each corner. For this corner, you just take it full speed. You can cut across that red part there, go full speed. Here you jam on the brakes and you try to go for a middle apex, try to keep the revs up and hug the wall there. Here, take this turn wide, hit the apex, and then I try to set up, make sure that I have a good exit going out of here, as We have a pretty good straightaway. Here, just trying to turn as little as possible to keep the top end speed as high as possible. Here, just jam on the brakes. We try to keep as much momentum as possible, so I typically exit pretty wide on that one. Then here, just kind of keeping it close. This part is bumpy, so I just try to take it in the middle, and then here, exit out wide and use the full track so that we can keep the speed up for this big straight here. With that said, let's speed things up to a little bit closer towards the end of the race. At this point, just trying to put in some consistent laps, try to maintain our lead. See, we still have a pretty good gap. Behind us, they have been fighting for second. However, the faster of the two has managed to get in front and now is catching up to us quickly. And this guy was quick. He, in qualifying, was first, and his lap time was around 0.4 of a second faster than mine, so almost half a second. So at this point, just trying to do some defensive lines a little bit more to try to keep him behind us. I'm not really sure how far behind third is at this point, so I don't really want to defend too much so that we don't let him catch up. But you can see after that last corner, kart number 1 is now right on us, and we have around 2 laps left. At the start of this point here, now we have 2 laps left, and yeah, he's still right there. And going into this corner, you can see he goes for the pass there on the inside line, but we're a little bit out of reach, so we're able to hold on there. You can see I'm still taking a wide turn here, not really doing defensive lines, and that does cost us as we leave the inside open there. So we go side by side here. I decide to back off. I was on the outside of that kind of straight there, so not in really much of a position to claw back that position. And like I said, he was faster than us once he got past the karts behind us, so he is most likely going to disappear into the distance, but we still want to focus on doing some clean laps and trying to be right as close as possible so that we can take advantage of any opportunities to pass if he messes up or anything. And at this point, I know there's a giant gap to third, and this is the final lap, so if there's any opportunity to pass him, it would have to be now or never. There's only a couple of curves left to try to pass, but he's still a little ways ahead of us that we're not really close enough to try to make a move as of yet. Here we got pretty close, but then he pulls away from us, not quite enough space to get any move done there. So going into this turns here, we're pretty much both full speed, so we're not really going to catch him down the straight. But with that, we did end up second, which I'm definitely very happy with that. That would be my first podium in any of these league races, so I'm very happy with that. But with that said, let's jump into the final here. So in the final, we are in final A, and we're going to be starting third. And as the flag waves green, we start racing, and you can see this kart here jumps through, so we kind of follow him through. And here they kind of leave the inside open, so we try to go the inside there. Here we're on the inside going into this corner, so we take this corner on the inside as well. And with that, we find ourselves in first. So at this point, we just want to build a bit of a gap, ideally enough of a gap so that we don't have to do defensive lines and can focus on the optimal race line and trying to build our gap even more. And this time we will have to defend for 12 laps instead of 10 like in the pre-final. You can see here, the karts behind us are still there, but we have a decent gap to work with, so nothing to worry about immediately, but just focusing on trying to get some good laps in, get the tires warmed up, and try to put in some good qualifying type of laps. And with that said, let's speed things up a little bit towards the end of the race. Here, like I said, we're just putting in some hot laps, trying to get some good qualifying type of laps in. You can see whenever we look back, there's still a bit of a gap. We're kind of not losing them anymore. They're kind of staying around the same distance behind us at this point. And with that, we're halfway done with the race. You can see they're getting a lot closer. See this guy catching up to us there. Now, for context on the karts behind us, one of them is the guy who won the last race that we were in the pre-final. He's in kart 14, and I had that one during practice, and it was not a very good kart, so we do have that advantage. But as you can see, they're getting a lot closer to us, so not quite in the range where we have to defend yet, but it's in the range where we have to start thinking about that. Let's speed things up just a little bit once again, just to the end of this straight here. So if we check behind us, you can see now kart 20 is right on us, and they are not close to each other anymore, so they are not fighting at all. So at this point, I am aware he's right behind me, and I'm starting to do more defensive lines. You can see here, going to the middle of the track instead and not going fully wide. And down this stretch, it's not really a good passing opportunity, but just kind of keeping close to these barriers here. At this corner, you can dive bomb people, so I'm just trying to be aware and taking that corner in a way that he can't do that. Here, not really much of a passing opportunity, but down the straight, if they do have a lot more top end than you, they could pass you. So you do want to be aware of that. Here, just kind of keeping close to the barriers once again. And this corner, this is a prime overtaking corner, so we do take that one very defensively on the inside. And same thing here, going into the middle of the track, not letting them jump up the inside. Same thing here, making sure we're going in the middle of the track and then cutting in on the corners earlier than normal. You can see he's right on us because these defensive lines are slowing us both down at this point. Going into this corner, trying to maintain as much speed as possible so he can't get by us on a good exit there. You can see we actually got a little bit of a gap in him now. And going into here, we're going defensive as well, but I do mess up this corner and bump the barrier, which slows us down a lot and lets him get by us right there. So not ideal there, but we still are right on him, so we can look to try to pass him if possible. And as you can see behind us, we have a lot of space. I didn't actually look behind me, so I just told the cart behind me to work together. So he's starting to get a little bit of a gap on us, so we want to try to be close enough to him so that we can try to pass him if possible. But you can see he is pulling away even more at this point, going down this straight. You can see the flagman's waving final lap now. So if we want to get by this guy, we got to get close pretty quickly, and we got to make a move during this lap. You can see he's still a little ways away, so not close enough to make any moves yet. Here, he is taking that turn wide. I took it more inside line, which does let him get a little bit more of a gap. We're still kind of on him, but not really. We're not in range to make any moves yet. And at this point, it's full speed for the rest of these corners, so it's very unlikely that we'll be able to catch up. So it's looking like we're going to finish second, which is not too bad overall. And as we crossed the finish line, we got second, so that's not too bad. We did very good. That is my first podium ever, so I'm definitely very happy with that. And they give out medals for the top 3 of each final, so the final A and final B. And as I was getting my medal, they called out third's name, and then they called out second's name and it wasn't mine. So I was wondering, did I get a penalty? Did I get fourth for some reason? But then they called my name out for first, so apparently the guy in front of us that finished first got penalties. So we actually finished first on the night, which is awesome. I'm definitely very happy with that. So my first time out at Lone Star Kartpark, and we get first, which is crazy. But with that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you enjoyed it, leave a like and subscribe if you're interested in watching any videos like this in the future. And with that, I hope you guys have a great day.